Show map. In our previous episodes, we traced the historical evolution of the India-China border from the colonial-era cartography of the 19th century to the violent, transformative conflict of 1962 that fundamentally altered the strategic landscape of the Himalayan frontier. Title card. Today, we pivot to the future, examining how the legacy of these unresolved territorial claims dictates the modern reality of an armed peace, characterized by massive infrastructure expansion and the persistent risk of localized military confrontation. Satellite image. The immediate aftermath of the 2020 Galwan Valley clash forced both nations to abandon decades of status quo, resulting in the permanent forward deployment of over 50,000 troops on each side, significantly increasing the probability of accidental escalation. Archival photo. Official responses to these border tensions have included high-level diplomatic talks and military commander meetings, yet these have largely failed to produce a mutually agreed-upon definition of the line of actual control, leaving the border in a state of ambiguity. Infographic. This strategic competition has forced both governments to prioritize rapid infrastructure development, transforming the once remote Himalayan border into a densely connected network of dual-use roads, bridges, and airfields designed to sustain long-term military logistics in high-altitude environments. Illustration. For civilians living in border regions like Ladakh or Arunachal Pradesh, this militarization has brought both economic development through new road connectivity and the constant psychological burden of living in a high-stakes, contested zone of national security. Show map. The map of the disputed territory is vast, encompassing 38,000 square kilometers in the western sector of Aksai Chin and 90,000 square kilometers in the eastern sector of Arunachal Pradesh, which China refers to as South Tibet. Document highlight. Memorials and military institutions now serve as the primary keepers of the border's history, documenting the sacrifices made during the 1962 war and subsequent skirmishes, ensuring that the territorial claims remain central to national identity and political discourse. Data visualization. A lesser-known fact is that China has constructed over 600 Shaokang or well-off border villages since 2017, a strategic move designed to reinforce territorial claims through civilian settlement and administrative presence in previously uninhabited or sparsely populated border regions. Comparison. When comparing current military capabilities, both nations have heavily invested in high-altitude warfare equipment, including specialized mountain divisions, drone surveillance, and logistics chains capable of operating at elevations ranging from 3,000 to 6,000 meters above sea level. Document highlight. The 2005 Agreement on Political Parameters and Guiding Principles remains a crucial reference point for modern diplomatic efforts, though its practical application has been severely strained by the persistent divergence in how both sides perceive the line of actual control. Archival photo. The legacy of the border dispute is deeply personal for the families of soldiers stationed in these harsh conditions, where unit camaraderie and the memory of past engagements define the culture of the mountain brigades guarding the high-altitude passes. Timeline. Following the 1993 and 1996 agreements aimed at maintaining tranquility, the post-2020 era represents a significant shift, as the breakdown of these confidence-building measures has led to a more confrontational and militarized reality along the entire 3,488 kilometers border. Illustration. The resilience of the soldiers and the strategic planning required to maintain sovereignty in such extreme environments continues to inspire modern military doctrine, emphasizing the importance of preparedness, adaptability, and long-term strategic vision in complex geopolitical conflicts. Infographic. The primary lesson from this ongoing dispute is that unresolved historical cartography and competing national interests require sustained diplomatic engagement, as the alternative is a perpetual cycle of tension that hampers regional stability and economic cooperation between two major powers. Show map. As we conclude this episode, we realize that the future of the India-China border is not a static event but a dynamic process, shaped by the weight of history and the evolving strategic calculations of two nuclear-armed neighbors. The Himalayan frontier remains a testament to the enduring power of geography and the complexities of modern sovereignty, where every mountain pass and valley tells a story of national resolve and the persistent quest for a lasting, peaceful resolution. This analysis is grounded in verified historical records, official government documents, and scholarly research, ensuring a factual perspective on the complexities of the India-China border dispute without relying on speculative narratives or unverified claims regarding the future of the region. Data visualization. The Karakoram Pass, at an elevation of 5,540 meters, remains a critical strategic point where historical trade routes intersect with modern military surveillance, highlighting the enduring importance of high-altitude geography in controlling movement and intelligence gathering along the western sector. Archival photo, the Nathu Pass, historically a vital link in the Silk Road, now serves as one of the few official border personnel meeting points, facilitating communication between the Indian Army and the People's Liberation Army during periods of heightened tension. Infographic, China's G219 highway, which traverses the high-altitude plateau of Aksai Chin, remains a cornerstone of its border infrastructure, providing the necessary logistics capability to support permanent troop presence and rapid deployment in the western sector of the disputed border. Satellite imagery from the Australian Strategic Policy Institute clearly shows the expansion of Chinese airbases and helipads near the LAC, demonstrating a deliberate effort to achieve air superiority and logistical dominance in the event of a sustained military standoff. Infographic, India has responded by accelerating the construction of the Vibrant Villages program, aimed at enhancing connectivity and infrastructure in border areas to counter the demographic and administrative presence established by China's own border village development initiatives across the frontier. Document highlight, the 1954 Panchsheel Agreement, while initially intended to foster peaceful coexistence, now serves as a historical case study in the challenges of maintaining diplomatic alignment when fundamental territorial disputes remain unresolved and national strategic interests begin to diverge significantly. Show map, the middle sector, spanning Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand, remains the most stable part of the border, yet it is not immune to the broader regional tensions, with both sides maintaining surveillance and infrastructure to ensure their territorial claims are not compromised. Illustration, the extreme altitude and harsh climate of the Himalayas present a unique set of challenges for military operations, where the environment itself acts as a formidable adversary, necessitating specialized equipment, rigorous training, and advanced medical support for all deployed troops. Data visualization, India's Border Roads Organization has significantly increased its pace of construction, completing critical tunnels and bridges that ensure all-weather connectivity to forward areas, a strategic necessity for maintaining military readiness and logistical support in the high-altitude Himalayan terrain. Archival photo, the 1842 Treaty of Chus serves as one of the oldest historical documents defining the traditional borders between the Dogra rulers of Kashmir and Tibet, providing a foundational reference for India's historical claims in the western sector of the disputed border. Show map, the Johnson Line, proposed by the Survey of India in 1865, remains a central pillar of India's historical argument for the inclusion of Aksai Chin within the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, contrasting sharply with China's administrative claims in the region. Infographic, the Macartney-MacDonald Line, proposed by the British in 1899, represented an attempt to reach a compromise with China regarding Aksai Chin, yet the lack of a formal Chinese response left the territorial status of the region ambiguous for the following century. Document highlight, the 1914 Simla Convention remains a point of intense geopolitical debate, with India and Western historians recognizing the McMahon Line as a valid border, while China rejects it as an unequal treaty imposed by colonial powers without formal ratification by Beijing. Illustration, the psychological impact of the 1962 Sino-Indian War continues to shape the strategic mindset of both nations, serving as a reminder of the potential for sudden escalation and the necessity of maintaining a robust defense posture along the entire disputed Himalayan border. Data visualization, current troop deployments across the LAC are at their highest levels since the 1960s, with both sides utilizing advanced radar, satellite and electronic warfare capabilities to monitor each other's movements and ensure rapid response to any perceived incursions in contested zones. Satellite image, the construction of hardened bunkers and underground storage facilities along the LAC indicates a shift toward long-term strategic positioning, suggesting that both nations are preparing for a sustained period of competition rather than an immediate resolution of their territorial claims. Infographic, the role of external geopolitical alliances, including the strengthening of partnerships with global powers, adds another layer of complexity to the India-China border dispute, as regional dynamics become increasingly intertwined with broader international power struggles and security architectures in Asia. Illustration, the importance of maintaining open lines of communication between military commanders cannot be overstated, as these channels are essential for de-escalating local incidents and preventing the accidental outbreak of a larger conflict along the vast and poorly defined border region. Show map, the concept of perception zones along the LAC remains a major source of friction, where both Indian and Chinese patrols hold differing views on the exact alignment of the border, leading to frequent face-offs and standoffs in high-altitude, desolate areas. Document highlight, the official positions of both governments remain firmly entrenched, with India asserting the illegality of China's occupation of Aksai Chin and China maintaining its claim over Arunachal Pradesh, creating a diplomatic deadlock that defies easy resolution through conventional negotiation methods. Infographic: economic interdependence between India and China, despite the border tensions, continues to be a significant factor, with bilateral trade reaching record highs, creating a paradoxical relationship where economic cooperation and strategic competition coexist in a complex and often volatile manner. Satellite image: the development of dual-use infrastructure, such as high-altitude roads that can serve both civilian transport and military logistics, is a key strategy for both nations to enhance their presence and influence in the border regions while maintaining economic development goals. Illustration: the role of intelligence and reconnaissance in the border dispute has become increasingly critical, with both nations investing heavily in advanced satellite imagery and drone technology to monitor troop movements and infrastructure development in real time across the vast Himalayan frontier. Data visualization: the number of border incidents, including face-offs and minor skirmishes, has seen a marked increase since 2020, reflecting the heightened state of tension and the breakdown of established mechanisms for managing and de-escalating local disputes along the LAC. Show map: the strategic importance of the eastern sector, particularly the Tawang region in Arunachal Pradesh, is underscored by its historical and cultural significance, making it a focal point for both Indian and Chinese territorial claims and strategic planning in the region. Document highlight: the 1993 Agreement on the Maintenance of Peace and Tranquility, while historically significant, is now viewed by many analysts as insufficient for addressing the modern challenges of a highly militarized and technologically advanced border standoff in the high-altitude Himalayas. Infographic: the integration of artificial intelligence and automated systems into border surveillance and defense is an emerging trend, with both nations exploring ways to enhance their operational efficiency and situational awareness in the challenging and expansive Himalayan environment. Archival photo: the history of the border dispute is marked by periods of intense diplomatic activity followed by long stretches of stagnation, reflecting the profound difficulties in reconciling deeply held territorial claims and national strategic objectives between two major powers. Satellite image: the construction of new bridges over the Pangong Tso Lake, a site of significant military activity in 2020, demonstrates a clear intent to improve logistical capabilities and troop mobility in one of the most contested and strategically vital areas of the LAC. Data visualization: the environmental impact of massive infrastructure development in the fragile Himalayan ecosystem is a growing concern, with both nations facing the challenge of balancing strategic military requirements with the need for sustainable development and environmental conservation in the region. Show map: the Demchok sector, another point of frequent friction, highlights the complexities of the LAC, where both sides maintain patrols and surveillance, often leading to localized standoffs that test the resilience of established de-escalation mechanisms and diplomatic communication channels. Document highlight: the 2005 guiding principles for the settlement of the India-China boundary question remain a formal framework, yet their implementation is hindered by the lack of mutual trust and the persistent divergence in how both nations interpret the historical and current border reality. Infographic: the importance of regional stability in Asia, with the India-China border as a key component, cannot be overstated, as the ongoing dispute influences broader security architectures, economic cooperation, and the overall geopolitical balance of power in the Indo-Pacific region. Illustration: the resilience of the local populations in the border regions, who continue to live and work despite the constant threat of military tension, is a testament to the human element of the border dispute, often overlooked in high-level geopolitical and military analysis. Data visualization: the modernization of military forces, with a focus on high-altitude warfare capabilities, is a long-term trend that will continue to shape the nature of the border dispute, as both nations seek to gain a strategic advantage through technological and logistical superiority. Satellite image: the cumulative effect of infrastructure development over the past decade is a transformed border region, where the once remote and desolate landscape is now characterized by a permanent military and administrative presence, significantly altering the strategic calculus for both nations. Show map: as we look to the future, the resolution of the India-China border dispute remains a distant goal, requiring not only sustained diplomatic effort but also a fundamental shift in how both nations perceive their interests, security, and the potential for peaceful coexistence. The India-China border remains a defining challenge of the 21st century, a complex and evolving geopolitical reality that demands our continued attention, analysis, and understanding as we navigate the uncertainties of a rapidly changing international order in the heart of Asia.